Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Code Man Movies Podcast. I'm actually filming this on Monday night. I have a very busy day on Tuesday, tomorrow, so we're filming it a little bit early. I actually got to see some movies this week, so we have a lot to talk about this week. I also want to talk about my last episode. My last episode, it has like 150 some views. I don't know how that happened, what happened. I don't have any new likes. I don't have any new subscribers, I don't think. I guess I don't really look at that to know, and I don't really care about views at the end of the day, but wow, that's seriously awesome. So if you are watching this because you watched the last one and you enjoyed it, well, thanks for stopping back again. That's awesome. So yeah, that's totally cool, guys. We're almost on 20 episodes, so I'm hoping to do another thing after every 10 episodes. I want to do something to just improve on it every time. I want to do a little bit more with my descriptions for this next one, titling the videos a little better. Again, I'm not necessarily doing this for views, but if more people will come to it and we get to build this little community, that'd be kind of awesome too. So, yeah, I just want to say thanks for anybody that actually watched that last one, because it's got a lot of views. It's one of my highest viewed videos ever. So, yeah, just want to point that out there. So we're going to grab your alcoholic beverage tonight. I am going with a Bloody Mary. It's a homemade mix that I made. It's very tasty. Very spicy. And it's very refreshing. But anyways, so yeah, guys, grab a drink. It can be alcoholic, doesn't have to be alcoholic. Whatever you choose to do you. So anyways, guys, let's start talking about movies, shall we? First movie of the week is the one that is behind me. It's called Your Name. This is a Japanese anime movie. Came out a few years ago. And this is a movie that I watched because I am a part of a movie club now. This is my second week in the club, I think. And this is the second movie that I was able to watch with this group. And I really had fun watching a movie with a group, which is kind of why I kind of do this and kind of hope more people kind of come into it. It's not about views for me. It's more about just, having some people to talk to about this kind of stuff and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. Anyways, guys, so yeah, Your Name. This is a movie we watched for my movie club. This is a movie about a boy and a girl who switch bodies like every other day. And it's kind of like a Freaky Friday kind of thing, but much more deep and in depth than that movie. I gotta say, guys, this movie is absolutely flippin' beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful movies I have ever seen. For an animated movie, for me to be saying that, it's so interesting that wow. It was absolutely just beautiful. The first hour of this movie was absolutely fantastic. The idea of you switching bodies every other day and how you would handle that, how you would try to communicate with this other person, how you guys establish boundary rules, all those kind of things were really, really great in this first hour. And then you get to that hour point, just about the hour point, and you kind of find out this twist. A twist that, as I was watching the movie, some people in the group kind of had already said. I didn't necessarily see it coming. When they said it, I went, oh yeah, that could be something that happens. It happens, which I didn't mind that twist. I kind of like the twist. The thing is, though, there's almost an hour left of the movie after that. And I just didn't find the last half quite as great as that first half. It's still very beautiful to watch that second half. Not quite as good as the first half. And I lost interest by the end of it. I was spending more time looking at our group chat than I was actually watching the movie. And that was disappointing to me because I really liked that first half of the movie. And I really was interested in it and found it so compelling. The idea that you switch bodies with someone and you build these connections and such. It was beautiful. That first hour it was 10 out of 10 for me, honestly. I was watching this first hour going, this is going to be a perfect movie. Not something that you usually get in life with movies. No movie's ever really perfect at the end of the day. There's always going to be something wrong with a movie. But anyways, I didn't expect to be liking the movie as much as I did. And then that hour point hit, and I just kind of got disappointed by this weird twist, and then things kind of just going from there, and I just didn't feel it needed to do that. If this movie had been like an hour and a half long, and they had spent more time working on the relationship between these two characters, kind of, and then kind of had the twist be the last 15 minutes of the movie, I think I might have enjoyed this just a little bit more. And it might have been almost a perfect movie for me. At the end of the day, I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, as much as the group chat wanted to. I know there was members of my group chat that were just like absolutely in love with this movie. And I found it to be good. I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to after that first hour. I wanted to flip and call this movie a masterpiece. And as far as the look of the movie, it's a masterpiece. I don't find the entire movie, though, to be a complete masterpiece. And I wanted it to be. I really did. I've watched some animes, like Ghost in the Shell, I think I've watched a couple times, actually. And, what is it, Akira, I've watched that. There's been a couple. Anime usually is not my thing. If I'm watching a foreign film, it's usually a Korean movie. I really love Korean foreign films, particularly like Oh Boy, and I think The Raid is the Korean movie. Parasite, of course. Those kind of movies. Those are the movies that I've found myself loving as far as foreign movies go. And this was my first Japanese movie, I believe, that I've ever watched. And it makes me want to watch more Japanese movies for sure. It definitely makes me want to start watching some more anime movies, because what you can do in an anime movie is absolutely fantastic. I also want to talk about the soundtrack in this movie. The soundtrack to this movie is absolutely fantastic. In the group chat, we immediately were talking about it from the opening song sequence thing. We were talking about it, and it really is such a phenomenal soundtrack, and I've listened to it now, and it really is. It's a phenomenal soundtrack. At the end of the day, though, guys, I wish I had liked this movie more than I did. At the end of the day, though, I really did enjoy it. I'm not saying I didn't, but it's just not quite what I wanted it to be from the look of the movie and what that first hour of the movie was. At the end of the day, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. It's really good. I highly recommend it. Whether you're, some people don't like foreign films, some like anime films, I implore you to try it at least. Try it. Get through that first hour at the very least, because that first hour, absolutely perfect in my eyes. It's just that second half that it just went downhill for me. Things just got wonky and weird and just didn't make sense. Which, another thing we were saying in our chat, well, you could do that, you should have did that, should have did that. There were some dumb character choices and such like that too that just started bugging me. And my group, for that matter. So that is Your Name. Next up, guys, I do like to try to watch movies that are coming out this week or movies leading up to other movies. So, of course, I watched Top Gun. I've seen this movie a couple times. I do own this movie. I believe on Blu-ray. I have it on Blu-ray. And I like this movie a lot. This movie is a good movie. A good movie. Some people think this is like one of the greatest movies like ever. I disagree with that. It is a guilty pleasure movie in my book. The characters are kind of thin in this movie. A lot of weird stuff. This movie's kind of gay too. Really is. I mean, it's a bro movie, but there's like locker room scenes, the beach volleyball scene, and we all know it's an interesting movie. It's an interesting 80s movie. But it's an enjoyable 80s movie. There's some really great moments, some really great sequences in the, what are they called? Fighter jets, whatever you want to call them. I don't know the technical terms for those. I don't get into that part necessarily. I'm not that smart for it, let's put it that way. But yeah, it's a fun bro movie. Tom Cruise, was really when his career started picking up. Really is a great movie. The love interest is kind of nothing. And again, some of the other characters are kind of just nothing. I mean, we know Iceman, we know Goose, we know Maverick, and I mean, Hollywood. I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times, and I don't think I can remember anymore. But yeah, a lot of forgettable characters. There are some very 80s memorable moments, in particular the interesting sex scene with "Take My Breath Away." Yeah, that's right, I sang for you guys. Just interesting stuff like that happened in this movie. The beach volleyball scene, which I already kind of mentioned, is a very interesting scene. There's just some very interesting moments of this movie that I don't think are necessarily good moments. They're guilty moments and enjoyable moments. Not perfect necessarily. Like I said, it's a fun 80s movie. You have to be in the headspace of an 80s movie, and you'll probably enjoy it. There's some great action sequences, like I said, with the fighter jets, and it's all done very well. The story's kind of just, the story, you know where it goes, you know what's going to happen. Again, the characters are thin, but you care enough about them. The movie is actually kind of slow at parts and gets boring. This is another movie I was talking about, the last movie. I kind of started looking at my phone. It was background noise at certain parts of the movie. And I'd seen it enough times to know what happens and really just didn't care as much as I wanted to. At the end of the day, though, this is not a bad movie. This is a good guilty pleasure movie. A good guilty pleasure movie. I mean, there's guilty pleasure movies that are just bad movies or just fine movies that you call a guilty pleasure. This is a good guilty pleasure movie. It's like a solid guilty pleasure movie, if that makes any sense. Whatever. My rating for this movie, it's going to be a 6 out of 10. Not the greatest in the world, not the worst in the world. I like Tom Cruise. He's a psycho in real life, it seems like, but he's also a man that cares a lot. And even in his movies where he wasn't a producer necessarily and wasn't the big star that he is now, he still shows how much he cares, and it shows on screen. It really does, in my opinion at least. A good, fun, guilty pleasure movie, but nothing spectacular, nothing that we need to be singing at the top of the hills out, in my opinion. Some people disagree. Guys, Bloody Marys are so good. Anyways, guys, next up, preparing for Top Gun Maverick. Wanted to rewatch the movie Oblivion. Oblivion is directed by the same guy who's doing Top Gun Maverick. So I wanted to watch this one again. I saw this in theaters back in 2013. Came out in April or May of 2013. I remember this because a friend at the time that I had, we drove just about 2 hours, to go see this movie and go see Iron Man 3 in IMAX, opening day in IMAX. And we got there early, and they told us, since we bought our Iron Man tickets, we could get this movie, Oblivion, half off if we wanted to go see it. So we said, sure, why not? So we went. We saw this movie. I remember coming out of the theater. First of all, when I was watching this movie, I remember going, wow, this movie's beautiful. It looks fantastic. The special effects look amazing. The action sequences are well made. All the technical stuff, I remember going, wow. Coming out of the movie, though, I remember talking to a friend going, I don't fully get it. I think I get it, but if I do get it, and I think I get it, it's kind of boring. It's kind of stupid. It wasn't quite And my buddy went, okay, it's not hard to understand. Just, come on, Cody. And eventually I was like, maybe. And I started talking about it. He goes, okay, go on IMDb and just read the spoilers for it. So I read the spoilers and I went, oh, so yeah, nope, I 100% understand this movie. This movie's not that great. Technically, this movie is fantastic, and seeing it in IMAX was absolutely amazing. But the actual movie itself is not so great. Has a great cast, and a small cast too. As I was rewatching this movie, I didn't realize just how small of a cast it is. You got Tom Cruise, you got his two wivey girls, and you got the mission control person, Morgan Freeman and his crew, and that's really about it. I mean, that's basically Tom Cruise in this entire movie. It's kind of like, this movie actually does have resemblance to I Am Legend in the sense that it's like the apocalypse, and it's the man trying to figure things out in the apocalypse, essentially, and then he meets up with some people. Very similar. This movie was written by the actual director, Joseph Kosinski, I don't know what it is for sure. But I think it was a short story at first, and then they put it to a full movie. This movie feels like it should have been a shorter movie than what it is. It feels a little over-bloated. And the same problem I had with Your Name is in this movie too, almost. Oblivion has a great first hour. It's thrilling and incredible and beautiful to look at. I think once the second hour of this movie hits is when it just all goes downhill from there. It's not quite the movie that it wants to be. And I wish it was better. It has such an interesting premise of Earth is no longer anymore, and now we're just kind of, the few people that are on Earth are just here to essentially be fixing, robots that are scanning the Earth looking for life and such like that. And just the way the world works. I mean, even looking at this poster, I mean, that's a freaking Empire State Building right there. And it's covered. And it is just so interesting to see that. And it could have just been so much more. I love the freaking effects and the technology. His spaceship that we see right there, his motorbike he has at one point, because of course Tom Cruise has to ride a motorbike at some point in a movie without a helmet on. It's all so beautiful and so fantastic to look at, and absolutely incredible. And it's just so unfortunate that it goes on to just become kind of this boring, bland, convoluted movie that has clones and just gets ridiculous. And I just did not like the ending. And I just didn't like the second half of this movie. Kind of wanted to again, but I just didn't. Just not the movie it should have and could have been, unfortunately. So, yeah. At the end of the day, guys, this movie technically is fantastic. It's just the actual story kind of goes as the movie goes on. That sucks. It sucks. And it turns into a movie that is just okay. This is one of those movies that you go on YouTube and just YouTube, best scenes from Oblivion. And you watch a half-hour video, or even a 45-minute to an hour video, and it's really fun to watch. It's a good YouTube watch. Not a full-fledged movie watch, though. I mean, kind of the whole bit with Morgan Freeman, it's kind of bland and boring, and it's Morgan Freeman on screen. I just didn't love it, didn't buy it. At the end of the day, guys, I'm going to give this just an okay score because it's an okay movie. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's just not what I would have liked it to be with how beautiful this movie was, how good the first half of the movie is. I guess that's kind of a theme of this week. I don't know. I guess it just kind of is. I didn't plan that, but it seems like it's kind of what it is. I'm going to once again check my watch and make sure that everything is still going because, well, I want to make sure it's going. Yep, it's still going. Let's have another drink, shall we? Next up, guys, I needed a comedy. So I chose this one. To quote Fast and Furious, shitty call, Connor. Shitty call. This was a shitty call. Um, so, this movie has a really great premise. A girl who is in her senior year of high school, she hits her head in a cheerleading accident and goes into a coma for 20 years. So she wakes up and she's almost 40 years old. And this girl, this woman now, played by Rebel Wilson now, it's like nothing's happened. It's like a day has passed. And the day she had her accident, all she cared about was being the best cheerleader and becoming prom queen and living in a mansion with a hot husband that takes care of her. And so yeah, now she's 40 years old almost, and guess what? She wants to be prom queen and go back to high school and get the hunky guy and live in the house and be taken care of. And, you know, it sounds like it sounds almost like Freaky Friday. This could have been a great kind of like a Freaky Friday kind of movie where, you know, we have a child being an adult, and it could have been great. Instead, it's just kind of bland jokes, lots of pop culture references, and, I mean, some things just don't make any sense. Like, her character seems to have watched a whole bunch of movies and TV shows and learned so much about the world in such a short amount of time, when she's also so focused on becoming prom queen and all these things and cheerleading and crap, that I just don't buy that she just all of a sudden knows all these things. Like, I don't know, maybe she sat for a day and watched a whole bunch of YouTubes recapping the last 20 years, but she's referencing so many different things that I just don't buy that she would know these things. I really don't. So that kind of bugged me. The comedy in this movie is not that great, really. It's not. There's some decent jokes that are commenting on you know, pop culture. For example, there's a Fast and Furious joke in here where she talks about, you know, when I had my accident, there was only one Fast and Furious. Now I find out there's 8 of those things. And it's true. Like, holy shit. Fast and Furious has had 9, 10, counting Hobbs and Shaw, movies in 20 years. I mean, this is a freaking franchise. We've literally had one of these on average every 2 fucking years. That's insane. So yeah, that's like a chuckle. Like, it's not even a chuckle. It's just, true, is all I really got out of it. At the end of the day, it was just kind of boring and bland. Rebel Wilson's character is just kind of an annoying little brat. Not very likable. Her friend, I forget the actress that plays her, she has a couple friends. There's some good bits with them. That's really about it. This movie is nothing spectacular at all. With the premise that it had, I think it should have been way better. It's on Netflix. So if you do watch it at home, it's not terrible in that sense. I mean, it's just not great. And it was another movie that I found myself looking at my phone. I stopped caring a good 30 minutes into the movie with how unlikable Rebel Wilson's character is, and how she just essentially, her goal is just to be taken care of by a dude almost, and having the life she's always wanted. That, I mean, really at the end of the day, what's this do? I'm playing with my watch, guys. I don't know what this is doing. Ooh. Oh, I'm zooming in. I didn't know I could do that. Huh. Sorry. What were we talking about? Senior year! Guys, this movie is forgettable. So forgettable that as I'm talking about it, I was playing the zoom on my watch that I didn't know I could do. And that was really cool. At the end of the day, guys, this is not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not the worst Netflix movie I've ever seen. I kind of want to zoom out just a little bit more, but I kind of like, that's kind of nice. Kind of like that. Not the worst Netflix movie I've ever seen. But it's fine. If you're a Rebel Wilson fan, sure, check it out. If you want a light comedy, sure, check it out. Give it like a 4 out of 10. Never going to watch it again. I'm not necessarily happy I watched it, but I needed something to watch after, 2, 3 kind of serious, non-funny movies. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. If you're a movie fan, you know what I mean. So yeah, guys, that's that one. Let's move on to the next one, if it'll let me. Maybe it won't. Next up, guys, I watched Wreck-It Ralph. As you may have known, if you've watched some episodes of my other podcasts, I like podcasts. I don't just have a podcast. I like listening to podcasts. And one of those podcasts I really enjoy listening to is Blank Check. Blank Check, it just talks about movies, and it's like 3-hour long episodes for each one, 2 to 3 hours, and they just kind of go in depth on behind the scenes, the making, leading up to it, and they just kind of talk about the movie. And most of the time, I do not agree with those guys at all. This is a movie I agreed with, and I hadn't watched this movie in a while, so I decided to check it out again. Just wanted a light, fluffy kind of kids movie after working a long day of work, and Wreck-It Ralph is what I watched. So if you don't know, this is a movie about Ralph. He is a bad guy in a video game, but he kind of wants to be a good guy. Sounds similar to a movie that came out this year. Oh yeah, it's kind of like The Bad Guys, in a sense. But The Bad Guys is a con, so I guess it's not quite like that. But, yeah, that's the premise of this movie. Ralph wants to be a good guy. He's sick of being the bad guy. Sick of just not being treated very nicely. And so he starts doing things to become noticed and become a good guy. We all know this plot. We've all seen this story. But, it's a Disney movie. And it does some Disney things in the sense that it has a lot of heart in it. There's a character called Vanellope, I think that's what it is. Anyways, he meets her in another game. He travels to another game to go, achieve his goals, meets Vanellope, and, they create a unlikely bond that is a very beautiful, powerful, strong bond, and this movie gives you the feels, and it's got some great humor, some video game references in it. You see frickin' Sonic the Hedgehog on the poster there. Pac-Man, all that crap is in this movie, and guys, this movie's just a lot of fun. It does have a lot of heart. It is just a great movie to watch after a really freaking long day of work. And, I remember watching this movie back in 2012, really enjoyed it. And I like this movie now, 10 years later. This movie's 10 years old. It's insane to think that. But 10 years later, this movie is still really good. And I really enjoyed it. And if you haven't seen this movie, it's on Disney Plus. Check it out. It really is a great movie to watch. Beautiful animation. Great movie to watch with your kids. You as an adult will enjoy it. Heck, your kids aren't going to know half of these references. You will, though. And that's fun and interesting and makes it more fun and funny for you. And the kids, they're not going to know what's going on. That's fine. But that's, yeah. Or, when the arcade closes, the fun begins. When the kids go to bed, that's when you watch this movie. Because watching a movie with kids can be a nightmare. Anyways, guys, I don't have a lot of negative things to say about this movie necessarily. It's predictable. There is this twist at the end of the movie. They kind of bring it up at one point, just out of the blue, as an exposition dump, and then it just kind of shows up. And it's kind of dumb. And I didn't necessarily think it needed to be there, but it's there. That's not my favorite. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about it. There's just a tad bit long, I'd say, a tad bit long. There's some fluff in there that could have been taken out. And it's a great movie just about being yourself. And if anyone has ever met me, they know I'm not afraid to be myself. I can be a loud, over-the-top, ridiculous person, and then, it's strange to think, some people, like at work, I tell people all the time, I'm actually kind of a quiet, introverted person, I like to sit at home and watch movies by myself. And they go, no way. But I actually kind of am. And, you know, this movie connects to me in a sense that I realize that there's nothing wrong with me being me. And there's nothing wrong with me being loud and obnoxious and awesome on the outdoors and then coming home and just wanting to be by myself. You know, I don't have a relationship. I'm not in a relationship. Partially for that reason. I like being alone. The friendships I have are with people that I don't see very often. I talk to a lot, you know, well, maybe not even a lot, honestly, a couple times a week. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like being by myself and I'm happy by myself. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Is there some underlying issue? Maybe. I don't know. This movie helps me see that there's nothing wrong with being you. And the friendships we make are important, and we should cherish them as long as we have them. And even when you don't get to see people necessarily every day, it's a wonderful thing. This movie ends on a very beautiful, powerful note of that. Like, it's just fantastic. And it goes so even more in the second movie, which I'm going to rate this movie first. I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. It's a really beautiful kids movie. It's just a beautiful movie for adults too. It's just a good, powerful, beautiful story. So 8 out of 10 for this movie. And now we're going to talk about, you guessed it, its sequel, Wreck-It Ralph 2, because, well, if you're going to watch the first one, you might as well watch the second one, right? I remember seeing the trailers for this one and going, wow, this is going to be a lot of references. Meaningless, stupid references and cameos that are going to have nothing to it. And as you can see from this poster, there are a lot of people in this movie. None of which really seem like they don't have a purpose and a meaning in the movie. And I love that. Even if they're on screen for 10 seconds, they still had some kind of meaning to the story. If you don't know the plot to this one, Ralph and Vanellope go into the internet to find something to keep Vanellope's game that she is in at the arcade that they are located in alive. And this movie is even more deeper than that first one. Vanellope is in search of herself. She's trying to figure out what makes her happy. Ralph is kind of codependent in this movie. He relies so much on the friendship between Vanellope, and he struggles with being alone, essentially. And this movie just takes you to all different places in the internet and has so many funny bits with Disney princesses, with characters that are viruses, characters that are in these other video game worlds that are like Fast and Furious, that is literally Gal Gadot's character. So many fun little scenes and references in this movie. This movie just had me smiling and laughing and enjoying myself. There are so many great cameos in this movie, such as, Eeyore there, the Disney princesses, I Am Groot, so many of them. I could go on and on. Google references, IMDb references, so freaking much. And it is such an enjoyable movie. Same as the first. There's not a lot of negative talk about. Again, it's probably a little bit too long. There's some fluff in this movie that could definitely be taken out. But it's still such an enjoyable movie. And this movie's ending is even more powerful than the first one for me. I kind of like what I was just talking about, how I don't see my friends very often. I don't talk to them all that often, maybe once a week, a couple times a week. And when I do, it's my favorite part of the week. I love talking to my friends. I have a buddy from Chicago that loves movies. I'm going to see him at for Lollapalooza. I talk to him a couple times a week. And it's great talking to him. I get to escape into movie world and talk about movies with him. I have another buddy, Luke, that I occasionally get to hang out with I think this year I've hung out with them twice, maybe 3 times. And every time we do, we're just laughing and having a great time. I maybe message him once a week. Every time I do, he makes me laugh. He says all the time, "Damn, Cody, you crack me up." It's great. And it just goes to show you how important friendship is, and how you don't need to see each other every day to be good friends. You don't need to talk to each other every day to be good friends. It's just that bond that's important. And this movie really shows that. And I really like that aspect of that in this movie. I think it's such a powerful and beautiful ending that this movie has. And at the end of the day, both these movies are kind of movies about friendship. And I really like that. I really connect to that. Friendship is very important to me. And that's why I kind of actually go through Friends a lot, because friendship is so important to me that when you break down that wall and you show that the friendship really isn't important to you as I would have thought, or it was at one point, when I find out I was just a stepping stone into something that you actually wanted, which I've had with a couple different friends, that's when I go, okay, I'm done. And it's happened a few times now. And every time it hurts. But I don't regret anything I've done in the sense of losing some friends that I've lost. Because it just goes to show how poor of friends they actually were. And it shows with other friends that are connected to those friends, some mutual friends of those friends, and how they're really not important to them anymore. And I don't know, this movie just brought on some memories of certain friends that I've had in the past. Truly another great movie. 8 out of 10 for me on this one. I would love to see a third. I would love to see a Wreck-It Ralph trilogy. First one came out in 2012, I think, and this one came out in 2018, I believe. So, 6 years in the making for the second one. I would love to see another one in 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 2024. A movie like Wreck-It Ralph would not have been necessarily maybe pushed back because of COVID. It could have been, it's an animated movie, it's made in computers. Very well, we could see one in 2024, 2023, I'd be really interested in seeing the third. I would love to see a Wreck-It Ralph trilogy. Tell me what you guys think, though. If you're one of 158 people that watched this last video, for the love of God, comment below. Guys, I am feeling this alcohol a little bit. I've actually recently stopped drinking so much. This is like the most I've drank all week. So I'm feeling it. And I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying this too. I hope you guys are drinking something and enjoying yourselves too. Anyways, guys, another 8 out of 10 for me for Wreck-It Ralph 2. I really enjoy this movie. It's such a fun movie. Great characters. Great emotional, beautiful stakes in this movie. And such an enjoyable movie. Check it out if you haven't. Again, it's on Disney+. Watch it. Watch it. All right. Next up, guys, let's talk about the movie of the week. The movie that I was very excited to see. The movie that is a sequel to a movie that I already watched this week that we already talked about. Top Gun Maverick, guys. Like I said, I enjoy Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun. It is a guilty pleasure movie. I don't think it's necessarily good. So when I heard that there was a sequel, I was excited about it. Especially knowing how Tom Cruise is nowadays with his producer status. He has very much been an actor that wants practical effects. Very much an actor that cares. He's a producer that wants people to experience cinema. This movie was supposed to come out in 2020. I know Paramount was trying to get it on Paramount Plus. Tom Cruise went, screw that. This movie's going to be in theaters. We are going to wait till everyone can come into theaters and watch this movie. This movie is worth that. I've also heard that behind the scenes, like he said, if you're going to be in this movie, you're going to learn to fly a fighter jet. Like you are going to Top Gun school, essentially. Because I want this practically. I want cameras in the cockpit of these planes, and it's going to be practical. And I freaking love that. Say what you will about Tom Cruise. The guy, whatever. In his personal life, maybe he's a little psycho. But this is an actor that cares so much about us, the audience. He wants everyone to enjoy movies. He wants everyone to experience movies. I know there's people in the world that don't love movies. I know this is a small group of people in the world that actually love movies. Yeah, when a movie makes $200 million, that seems like a lot. And it is still a lot of people going out to the movies. But at the end of the day, that's like this much of the world. It's really not as much people as you'd think. And, I mean, some people don't even know that this movie is coming out. That is a realization that I have. And when I talk to people about movies and they're not these kind of people, they go, why do you love movies so much? And I go, because I feel something. I experience something. And there have been friends, for example, that don't love movies. And I take them to a movie with me. And they see how much I experience a movie, how my emotions are. I'm a fun person to go to the movies with sometimes because I will make noises. I will, there's a moment in this movie where I clapped. I really did. I clapped all out. I was the only one in the theater that did it. I didn't give a flying fuck, though. Because there are just some really great moments. Just stand up and clap kind of moments. Just truly incredible moments of this movie. I should actually just start reviewing this, guys. In this movie, yeah, Maverick, he's not a pilot anymore. He's a teacher in this movie. And I actually learned from a customer at work, someone who was in the Army or military or something. He said that in real life, there's no way a man of Tom Cruise's age would actually be a Top Gun kind of teacher kind of thing. He'd be kicked out a long time ago. He'd be retired. Then it's actually kind of brought up in the movie, and it's kind of acknowledged, but what they kind of do is, this is a movie, fuck off. So there are things like that. For example, not really a spoiler, but there is a character in this movie that is a child in the first movie, and since this movie takes place like 37 years later, that child would be like 40 years old. Instead, he's 28 years old or whatever he is. He's my age. So that doesn't make sense. So, I mean, if you look at this and get nitpicky with it, yeah, there are things that don't make sense. But you go in knowing movie logic and you just go with it. And boy, if you just go with it, this movie is such a great movie. This is another movie that is in my top 10 of the year. And I'm going to be really surprised if it's not in my top 10 of the year. Incredible that we have now, what do I have? 1, 2, I mean, Everything Everywhere at Once, The Northman, and this one. 3 movies that are in my top 10 of the year, and we are only into May. We're not even halfway through the year, guys, and I have a top 10 started. It's pretty fucking incredible, I'm not going to lie. I'm swearing a lot tonight, I apologize. Alcohol talking. Anyways, guys, this movie is just so fantastic. Tom Cruise is giving phenomenal performance. Yes, it's Tom Cruise, but he is playing Maverick. Miles Teller in this movie, it's not a spoiler. He plays Goose's son. Fantastic in this movie. I hear he's a douchebag in real life, whatever. John Hamm in this movie is fantastic. Jennifer Connelly plays the love interest Tom Cruise. She's one of my negatives with this movie, and really one of my only negatives with this movie. She really doesn't need to be in the movie that much. I mean, she humanizes Maverick a bit more. Classic hero needs a girlfriend kind of thing. And that's my other negative with this movie too. There are some other characters in the movie, some of the other pilots that are students in this movie that kind of are kind of forgettable. They have one little thing about them. The one is a girl, and she's, she wants to be one of the boys, essentially, and she wants to be better than the boys, and one's cocky, arrogant. One is kind of the quirky, nerdy guy. The other one, he's unsure of himself, blah, 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 blah. They have these one character traits, and that's about it. But they're still great characters that you really start to love and care about. So that's really my only negative with this movie, is that some of the characters are kind of just there. Everything else about this movie, though, is such a fantastic thing to watch. It's such a great experience. Guys, I have to go see this in IMAX. I really do. It's so incredible. Go see this in the biggest theater possible with the best sound quality possible, because even in my AMC theater that is kind of crappy, I'm not going to downplay it, kind of crappy theater, it still was incredible. You could feel the crackly, staticky things of the jet plane are phenomenal. You could just feel it. You could hear it. Beautiful sound design. I think this is some of the best sound design and sound mixing and sound editing I've ever experienced in a movie. And I keep saying experience, because this movie is a fucking experience. This is why we should go to movies. This is the kind of movie I would take someone who doesn't like movies to. Because they can experience a fucking movie. And Tom Cruise, you're a fucking god, because damn, do these fucking flight sequences, they're fucking incredible. I have to stop saying the fucking F-bomb. I just need to drink more of this, that's what it is. Anyways, guys, the freaking flight sequences are so incredible. And there is a scene with a character in this movie. I won't necessarily say too much about it. But it just moved me. I was getting very choked up. And such a powerful, incredible scene. It really was. At the end of the day, guys, I don't have much negative to say about this movie, except there are some thin characters. The whole entire plot with Jennifer Connelly really doesn't need to be in the movie. It just bogs the movie down a little bit. Lady Gaga has like a composing credit for this movie. The song that she wrote for this movie, Hold My Hand, which is actually a really pretty good song, it's kind of like flowed in with the score, which is something I've noticed has been coming. It happened in Top Gun with Take My Breath Away. It was kind of involved in the score. This movie does it. The Batman kind of did it with Something in the Way. It was kind of mixed in with the score. I kind of want to watch that movie now. It's almost midnight though where I'm at. That means it won't get done at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, so it's a 3-hour-long movie. Damn. Anyways, guys, I love that trend of putting a song kind of into the movie. The score is very nice in this movie. It's mixed with Hans Zimmer too. Hans Zimmer did a little bit of the score. There's also the original composer, I believe, did parts of the score. This movie's just really great. You don't need to be a fan of the original Top Gun, I don't feel. If you know the original Top Gun, there are Easter eggs and stuff in there that you'll just really enjoy. Even the 6 little side snippet pictures that you see in these posters here, they're kind of references to the original Top Gun in a sense. And you're going to appreciate the movie more. You're going to feel the heart of the movie a bit more. I just think, yeah, at the end of the day, there's some thin characters, and there's a couple things that happen in the movie I just kind of felt like didn't need to happen, or if they did, they should have actually, went through with some of the things. At the end of the day, though, guys, there's just not a lot to complain about this movie. Honestly, one of the items that I have where there's just things that happen and they should have just went through with them, honestly, it's a nitpick. I don't even count that as a bad thing against it. I went into this, talking about this, thinking I was going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm going to give this movie a goddamn 9 out of 10. There's just some thin characters. But at the end of the day, I still kind of like those thin characters. Honestly, the 2 things I have problems with are nitpicks that equal one big problem. Not one big problem, just one problem with the movie. And that's why I give it a 9 out of 10. This is such a great movie, guys. I think, as of now, my top 3 movies of the year that I think are going to stay, at least in my top 10. Everything Everywhere All at Once is my number 1 movie. That's like a 9 out of 10 for me. Top Gun Maverick, 9 out of 10. The Northman, 8 out of 10. Those are my 3 big movies of the year, guys. Such fantastic movies. And we're having a pretty damn good 2022. 2021 was a little bit disappointment, But it ended great with movies like Tick, Tick, Boom, Spider-Man No Way Home, King Richard. Let's not talk about Will Smith. We don't talk about Will Smith or Jada Pinkett Smith. Because they're fuck faces, and I don't like them. They're arrogant, snobby, snooty people, and I don't like them. Let's not get political. We're just going to stop here. Anyways, guys, Top Gun Maverick. Great movie. 9 out of 10. I freaking love this movie. I sang a couple times in this podcast, haven't I? You know, it is what it is. Next up, guys, I did not actually see this movie in theaters, but I wanted to actually try to remember to put on posters, movies that are coming out this week. No real new movies coming out this week. So I wanted to put up a poster for Bob's Burger movie because I do want to see this movie. I've never seen the TV show. I was talking to the manager at the AMC that I work at tonight. She was saying, yeah, you know, I kind of want to see it too. Who knows? Maybe it'll get me into the show, or maybe I'll watch that TV show. That's kind of my opinion on the movie too. Maybe I'll watch this movie, enjoy it, and want to watch the TV show. Not super excited for it. I will go see this movie eventually. Kind of want to go see Top Gun Maverick a second time first, or go see Men a second time. Men was the picture that I had in my last video. And I did talk about last week how I need to process Men and how I kind of want to see it a second time. I do really want to see the movie a second time. I have a feeling it's not going to be in theaters much longer. It's not making a buttload of money necessarily, and it is a weird movie. It's not for everyone, so I might go see Men again before I even go see this movie again. Who knows what happens, though. I don't necessarily plan out my days. I kind of plan out my days. I don't plan out my movies, though. I kind of just go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Guys, I'm slightly tipsy right now. I'm not going to lie. I don't think there's any other... That's the end, guys. That kind of brings us to the end of this podcast, guys. Go see Top Gun Maverick. The love of God. The highest Memorial Day opening weekend of history is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. A movie I don't love. I know people love the Pirates of the Caribbean. I know people love Johnny Depp. I don't like Johnny Depp. I think I've talked about this before. I don't know if you've seen previous episodes, but I don't love Johnny Depp. Come at me. So yeah, let's make Top Gun Maverick the brand new movie to get that Memorial box office weekend, which is why I kind of want to go see this movie again tomorrow, so that we can, help get this movie to be better than Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, so we don't have to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End anymore, because that's not that great of a movie. It's alright, it's fine, it's enjoyable. Way too fucking long. Does it need to be 3 fucking hours? No, it does not. Anyways, guys, I think I have, maybe spent a little too much time talking tonight. Like, what are we at on time? This is going off the rails. We're at 52 fucking minutes, guys. It is almost midnight where I'm at. It's 11:51. My drink just went dry. Guys, I have to admit something. I really do. I have to admit something. This entire podcast, I haven't been wearing pants. I really haven't. Guys, I need another fucking drink. I'm not wearing any pants. I don't fucking care that you're gonna see me in my fucking underwear. Wearing my fucking American fucking Eagle trunks. Because America, god fucking damn it. So, that's how I'll leave you. You guys have a phenomenal fucking week. We'll see ya fucking next time. See ya!